I've been doing this this will be my third full season doing these post-game recaps for the Mariners. And for the first time, I don't know if I'm going to make it through all 162. If this is what it's going to be like, it is going to be very, very difficult to talk about every single one of these games. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Mariners end their first road trip by being swept by the Giants. They get walked off twice in the series, and they fall to 3-7 on the season. They will return home for a 6-game homestand starting tomorrow night. A very, very tough, frustrating first 10-game pocket of the season. As always, before I dive any further into it, do me a favor, hit that like button. Even with the team struggling, it helps out my channel tremendously. It gets the video out to more people. Comment your thoughts on the team and the game down below. And don't forget to hit subscribe. I'm under 600 subs away from my goal of 5,000. And if the season keeps going like this, the views are probably going to go down. So you guys can just hit that sub button now. It would help me out tremendously as we move closer into the summer months here. So who knows with this team. So if you guys can, like and do it now in April while there's still at least some hope for baseball before we get too buried before the summer. So thank you all for support. Thank you to all my channel members that stopped by for the live stream today. We had a ton of fun despite the frustrating game, getting to talk ball and hang out. I do apologize for the first half of the video. I had the video listed as private and not unlisted, so the comments weren't coming through. But thank you for all the super chats, donations. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you all so much for hanging out. And I'll tell you what, it made a tough game a little bit better getting to hang out with some of you folks. So I appreciate all of you joining me for that. And I think we had a lot of fun despite the result. Again, just typical Seattle Mariners fashion, right? Like tied up in the 9th inning, feeling pretty good. Like, okay, like they battled back, get 3 outs, get the offense back out there, see what they can do. And Victor Robles gets seriously hurt and looks like he's going to miss some time. Then they lose in a walk-off. Like only the Mariners can rally in a 9th inning and make it worse in the long run, right? Like just would have been better off going down 1-2-3 in the 9th inning. Like, of course, obviously don't know Victor Robles is going to get hurt and everything, but I mean, you couldn't sum up the Mariners any better. And of course, right after Robles gets hurt, I hope it did not look good. I don't know if they were saying shoulder. I thought it was more his wrist, the way he was holding it, but he may have just been holding his wrist to kind of support shoulder. I don't know. He was getting an x-ray on it. Shannon Drayer was saying in San Francisco, hoping for the best, but I would imagine an IL stint is coming. I would assume Dom Canzone is the next guy up, and then Rayleigh just plays some right field here in the next few days would be my guess. Well, I shouldn't say next few days. We'll see how long Robles is going to miss, but just devastating, brutal on a tremendous catch and effort by Victor Robles. Just tough to see him get hurt. It's frustrating. It was a great effort play, tremendous catch, and it ends up, hurting the team. It just sucks when it's like it would have been better off just letting it go. But you can't tell a player that. You can't do that. You can't play baseball and play sports that way. It's all out. And then the next pitch, right? Everything, the dust settles, next pitch, base hit, game's over. I mean, just, you couldn't write a script this just toughest battle, devastating losses that the Mariners are able to chalk up. Again, not hitting with runners in scoring position. They're a little bit better today. Bliss and Randy both get the big hits. But after Bliss's hit with runners in scoring position, they had runners at second and third with 1 out. JP has a terrible at-bat, strikes out, and then Robles flies out. So a chance there to get the lead or at least tie the game. Couldn't do it. 9th inning after Randy doubles, Mastroboni walks, and Garver's up with the bases loaded. A chance put one in the gap, open that game up, you probably win it. But nope, they pop out. So even when they do get a little bit better with runners in scoring position today, at least getting a couple of hits, they still are leaving so much out there. The at-bats have been better. There have been some base runners. There have been hard hit balls. They're striking out less, honestly, but they're just not delivering with runners in scoring position so far. Will that change? I think they'll be better. I don't think they're going to be this bad with runners in scoring position. But while it's going on, they're racking up losses that count. I always say, and again, repeating myself, but this team repeats itself every night, so I'm going to have to repeat myself. It's spiraling. It's starting to get there. 3-7 is, even if you sweep Houston in the next series, which is probably unlikely, you're still under 500. You are going to need a 5-1 homestand just to be 500 after it. That's what it would take to get back to 500 against two good teams in Houston and Texas. So you're you're not fully there yet. But what I just dread is that, 3-7 becomes 5-12, 7-17, where you're not a little stretch away. You're going to need to play, a legitimate 15 games over 500 for a month just to even get back into the mix. And that's my concern here. Had they won today, 4-6 isn't great, but you can stomach it. Had they won the series 5-5, fine. You're 10 games into the year. Who really cares? You're 500 or a game under or a game over at that point. But you just can't let it spiral, and they are letting it spiral. And maybe they right the ship tomorrow with Logan on the mound. Very possible. Baseball's weird. Teams look terrible. I know if I said they could sweep the Astros, people would laugh at that, going, how are they going to sweep the Astros? They've looked terrible. Baseball is a weird sport. I remember last year I did a series preview. I think they were 6-10 and they were playing the Reds, and they just lost a series to the Cubs. And I said, listen, if they sweep this, they are kind of right back in this thing. And I got kind of laughed at for it, and they swept the Reds. It is possible. They've got the pitchers to do it, but I'm not betting on it. I'm not saying they're going to sweep the Houston Astros. I don't think they will. But, baseball is funky. So maybe you do that, get right back into it. So they're certainly not buried by any means, but it's what you didn't need. And again, repeating myself, but it's exactly what this team didn't need after their offseason. And the pressure's on, right? As I drop my pen there, I don't know if ownership feels pressure. They should. They probably don't really. They're probably, as long as they're making money, they're fine. Jerry and Justin should be feeling the heat. They should have felt it last year. They didn't do anything this offseason. Can't defend them. Dan is kind of the least of my worries. There's only so much you can do if you don't have the tools to make it work. I'm not saying Dan's been perfect, but the problems are always up top. It's always up top. So still time to turn it around, but it's an organization that, and I've said it before, if they were two-time defending AL West champs, I wouldn't even really care all that much. I'd be disappointed with 3-7, but I'd be like, it is what it is. But it's a team that had a terrible offseason, missed the playoffs by a game the last 2 years, has a front office that does not have a lot of faith with the fans, nor should they. I think they've done some good things here, but overall they shouldn't have, the fans just not desperately, blindly believing in them. Ownership, a whole other can of worms. And then they get off to the start this year. So yeah, fans are going to be frustrated. Fans are going to be irritated. They have every right to be. They have every right to be. And they've seen winnable games slip by this year. This series was frustrating because I think you could have easily won 2 out of 3 here in San Francisco. And I don't think any fan would be too upset with 5-5. I think most people are sure, yeah, I'd love to be 8-2, 9-1, but we know that's not how baseball works. And does every team have a stretch where they go 3-7? Absolutely. Absolutely. But this is all we have. This is all we've seen from this team. So it's tough to sit here and go, oh, they'll play better. They will. They will win a series. I promise they're going to win a series at some point. They're going to have a stretch where they do look like a good baseball team, but is that going to be enough? Not saying they're going to be good. They will have stretches. They will win series. They will. But will it be enough? Okay, they'll have stretches like this where they were 3-7, but there was winnable games in there. They've got to find a way to pull those out. It's like, talk about the players where that consistency, right? Looking for more of that from these players. The bad months, they have to make sure that they don't bottom out. And 3-7 is kind of bottoming out. Now, there's time, but you can't have those bottom out stretches. You've got to at least keep it 4-6, 5-5, and tread water. 3-7 is not treading water. It's drowning. 10 games does not make a 162 game season, but it's not good. There's no scenario where this is a good start for the Mariners. I would bet you if you went to Fangraphs and looked at the playoff odds, they've probably dropped for this team. They have probably significantly dropped. And guys, you're 5 games out in the AL West right now. That's substantial. Like I know the Mariners had a 10-game lead last year and blew it in about a week and blew it in about a week and a half, but 5 games is a substantial lead. 5 games is substantial. It matters. I mean, if you played Texas starting tomorrow and lost the series, or God forbid were swept, you'd be 6-8 games back. Like, it doesn't sound like a lot on April 7th, but if that 5 becomes 7, 7 becomes 9, becomes 10 really quickly, guys, blowing a 10-game lead last year is not the norm. That normally doesn't happen. Teams get 10-game leads. They normally hold them because it's a very substantial lead. It was one of the reasons I was excited for it last year. I'm like, even if the Mariners don't play good ball, they should be able to hold a 10-game lead here. So they are putting themselves in a hole early. It is frustrating. I'm still at the point of it's early, but I'm starting to move into the territory of like, come on, guys, let's go. And you know, the vibes just don't look good. I mean, I think that's part of just being 3-7. I don't know many 3-7 teams that look like they're having fun out there. But let's go ahead and get into the box score today. Brian Wu goes 6 innings, 5 hits, 4 run, 4 earned, 1 walk, 6 Ks. Brian Wu looked fantastic for 5 of those innings. 5 out of those 6, he again looked like the Cy Young guy that I think he can be. But 1 inning just kind of unraveled it. And it started with a couple bloops, right? Lee dropped one in. I think Chapman dropped one in there. Let's see. Let's pull up the play-by-play here. It was in the 4th inning. Let's go to the bottom of the 4th here. Yeah, Adames kind of singled on a parachute ball to center field. Lee's was just kind of a soft one hitting to left field. Chapman flew out. Then Ramos had a solid single, and then Yastrzemski hits the home run. And just like that, it's 4-2. Before you can even blink. And it started with a couple bloops. But that's how it happens, right? That's what leads to big innings. And the Giants are able to take advantage. And other than that, Wu was fantastic. I thought for 5 innings, he was absolutely dialed in. That inning really surprised me because he was dialed in going into it. I don't know what happened in that inning. I mean, the Adames and Lee hits you can kind of chalk up as a couple BABIP singles that kind of fell in, but Ramos' base hit was hit solid, and Yastrzemski put one over the fence. So not really sure what happened there to Wu in the 4th inning, but just kind of came unraveled a bit. Settled back down, threw the ball well. But again, last year, what was kind of the thing with this team? The pitchers almost felt like they had to be perfect, right? And a lot of times you got it. They won a lot of games like this last year where they'd score 2, 3, 4 runs, and the pitching was just dialed in for 6 shutout innings. Then between Munoz and whoever else at the back end last year, that they were able to lock it down. So far this year, and I'm not picking on Brian Wu, he's going to be fine. He was honestly fine today for the most part, but he wasn't perfect. And when you're not perfect with this pitching staff, it seems to lead to poor things for them. They should be able to win games where Bryce Miller and Brian Wu are good, not great. They should still be able to. And I mean, not in their defense. I mean, they were close today. It's not like they were obliterated or anything. That's not a defense. I'm just saying it was there for them, even with Wu having that bad inning. But they should still have a chance to get wins in those games. So, if this pitching has regressed even a little bit, I'm not saying it has. Again, some of the bad pitching numbers are because of Hancock and Luis F. Castillo. But man, if this pitching is not like elite, it's going to be trouble. It is going to be trouble for this ball club. So, and it's a shame because it shouldn't have to be elite every night, but it kind of needs to be. It kind of needs to be. So we'll see if Logan has it in him tomorrow for a big game. Carlos Vargas threw the ball well, shutout inning, gave up a hit, 2 strikeouts. Been really impressed with Vargas. Looks like the Mariners might get something out of the Geno Suarez trade after all. Thank goodness. Still don't love the trade, but Vargas does look like a good weapon. I remember when they made the trade, I did say that I think people are going to like Carlos Vargas. I liked what I saw when I went back and watched him, looked at the numbers. Then last year just couldn't have any command control, but it's looked good this year. He looks like a legit weapon. I wouldn't mind him getting some higher leverage spots. The command control's been pretty good. He's missed some bats. Even the hit he gave up today was a swinging bunt. I think Vargas is throwing the ball well. We got good Bizzardo today. Shutout inning with a walk and a strikeout. Stuff looked good, which means next time we're probably getting bad Bizzardo. It just seems to go back and forth. Santos was not very good. Couldn't throw a strike. Listen, Santos's stuff, I will still stand by, is nasty. But he's now pitched 4 2/3, 3 walks, no strikeouts on the season. he's never been like a heavy strikeout guy. It's more of a pound the ball into the ground and get grounders. But you got to be better than 3 walks, no Ks, because it will come around to bite you in the butt like it did today. So he's got to be more in the zone. The stuff is good. I'm not necessarily worried, but Santos hasn't exactly been like a lights out reliever. He's been more of a guy there. I did not have a problem going to Santos over to Munoz in the ninth for 2 reasons. One, it was the bottom of the order, so I don't mind using Santos there. And second of all, for the Mariners to win the game, they were going to have to get 3 outs in the ninth and probably 3 outs in the 10th. I mean, of course, obviously. Like, so you're going to have to use Munoz or Santos either way, right? Like, so I think going to Santos in the ninth was actually better against the bottom of the order. You figure he should be able to get through that. Then you have Munoz for the 10th. I wouldn't have been against going to Munoz in the ninth. You can't manage for innings you don't have. And you could have defended it like, I want my best pitcher out there. Get it to the 10th inning. And, that would be the counter argument, right? Like, you didn't use Munoz. You didn't even get to the 10th inning. So, but I don't mind going to Santos for the bottom of the order and then trying Munoz in the 10th. Because I do feel like there was a few games last year where they would go to Munoz in that 9th inning and then lose it in extra innings because they went to the lesser reliever when you had the runner on base. That's a tough one. Those are the little things, like I said, I'm just not going to get on a manager for. I think those are tough decisions, and I think you can make a case either way. I don't think there's really a right or wrong decision with either one of those. So let's get into the box score here. Victor Robles, 2 for 5. Praying. Let's see if we have anything. I'll check and see if there is any like updated injury stuff here from Shannon Dreyer or something. Nope, says just hit shoulder, getting x-rays. So hoping for the best, but it's hard to believe after seeing that Robles is going to be back soon. I think the hope is just something maybe a little more mild than we originally think, and he just misses a few weeks, maybe would be the hope. But a shame and a great effort on that catch. So gutted for Victor Robles. Hope he's back soon. Polanco had to come in and play first base after the Robles injury, never had an at-bat. Julio 1 for 5 with the solo home run. Julio's best April yet, 3 home runs on the year. I will say he's moving a little slower running the bases. I don't know if he's a little banged up or if, sorry, my mic was, hello, test, there we go. All right. That's what you get with these unedited things. I thought my mic went out there for a second. Great to see the 3 home runs and a much better power April for Julio. He looks fine. Like I said, he looks a little slower on the base pass. I don't know if that's just something's nagging him, if he's just maybe, you hate to say not going 100%, but like trying to be a little more careful when he's running. Because there was a grounder that Adames got to, I think it was before Cal had a base hit in the 5th or 6th. I thought for sure would have been an infield hit for Julio. So I'm not really sure what the issue is there. If he's just gotten bulkier and is slower, I don't know, but he definitely doesn't look the same running the base pass, which does hurt, right? Because that's part of Julio's game for sure. But it's even looked that way out in center field a little bit. And I don't want to pile on Julio because he's one of the few people actually hitting right now, but he does look a touch slower. So I don't know if it's a nagging injury or something's going on. He's just being more careful. I don't know. I don't like speculating about that stuff, but better year so far to start for Julio at the plate. So if we get a good April from Julio and a big summer, that would be fantastic to see, because he's going to have that month where he just doesn't make it out. Cal had his best game, 3 for 4, a home run and a couple singles, a single and a double, a triple away from the cycle. That would have been a ballpark where Cal could get a triple in, so I was hoping for it. And then Cal was also walked as well intentionally there in the top half of the 9th inning. So good to see from Cal, a good game. It's when Julio and Cal are on, this team can win some baseball games. Not today, but it is good to see the two of them having a nice game there. Cal's season numbers take a big boost up, his first left-handed home run of the year. Randy Arozarena, tough series, tough game, but did kind of redeem himself in that 9th inning with the double that tied the game up. That was good to see. All of Randy's hits this year have been for extra bases. Listen, Randy's a guy that's just, when he's off, is going to look bad. When he's on, is going to look really good. Kind of similar we talked about with Julio at times, where there's just moments where you look at them and go, how do they ever get a hit? Then there's moments you look and they wonder how they ever make an out. Listen, if you're going to have a tough series and only going to have 1 or 2 big hits, or 1 or 2 hits. Randy picked the right time to do it with the double in the 9th inning. So clutch, good to see it. They need to hit better with runners in scoring position. Randy helping contribute to that a little bit today for sure. But overall, just pretty rough series for Randy and a rough game today too. Luke Raley was 0 for 1, but was hit by a pitch twice, so he was on board twice. Solano checks in with his first hit, an infield hit that, tough play for Chapman, just kind of lost it. Don't know if he would have gotten Solano, but hey, checks in. Good to see against a lefty too. It's what he was brought in to do. So nice to see for Donovan Solano. Hopefully that maybe gets him going a little bit. Mitch Garver or Rowdy Telezo for 3. Dan Wilson mentioned in the pregame that they may DH Polanco a little bit more. I guess Polanco's knee is bothering him. That's why he hasn't been in the lineup the last 2 games, which has really hurt the Mariners. Their best bat not playing, at least their best bat at the moment. If Polanco has to DH, I don't see how you keep Rowdy Tellez on the roster because you'd probably move Dylan Moore over to third. I know some people say Ben Williamson. I don't think that's going to happen yet. I think you'd see Leo Rivas up, Dylan Moore playing third, Bliss second, Rivas kind of playing wherever. Polanco, maybe if he has to, coming in and playing the field. But if that's the case, I think then you DFA Rowdy Tellez and, let Polanco just focus on hitting for sure. Okay, sorry, I had to pause the video. I'm going through all sorts of technical issues today. I'm like the Seattle Mariners of making videos. But anyways, I was saying that I don't see a spot for Tellez if Polanco has to DH. I'm usually in favor of giving guys a month, let them get some at-bats. But if Polanco has to DH, and you need his bat, he's been one of the better bats so far, I think it would be Tellez that would have to go. And I think Solano is going to get a longer leash than Tellez. One, he should. He's been the better baseball player over the last few years. And Solano should be able to hit lefties better than Tellez, so it gives you a little bit more value against left-handed pitching. If you had to DH Polanco, you could have Raley in right field, essentially, especially with Robles down. You'd essentially then have or Raley at first with Solano as a platoon. Demo at third, something like that. So I don't know. We'll see. But it sounds like that Polanco at third experiment isn't lasting very long. But we'll see what ends up happening there. Mitch Garver pinched hit for Tellez and was 1 for 2. Listen, a nice base hit in that at bat in the 7th or 6th inning that put runners at first and second. I think nobody out at that point. So that was great. Good to see Garver doing damage against the lefty. Unfortunately, in the 9th against Doval couldn't come through with the bases loaded. Kind of the Mariners, right? You see a couple hits, but it's with nobody on base. And then in their biggest spot, they pop up. So it's like, hey, did Garver have a bad game today? No, he's 1 for 2. But man, can we reverse where the 1 happened? It's frustrating. Dylan Moore, 1 for 4. Ryan Bliss was 1 for 4 with an RBI single. JP was 0 for 3 with a walk. Thought JP's at bat, that strikeout in the 6th was a pivotal at bat. Miles Mastrobuoni also had an at bat because he ran for Solano. And he walked. So, hey, he did his job against Doval in the 9th, not Mastrobuoni's fault. Listen, I don't love that Miles Mastrobuoni had to take a 9th inning at bat. Here's another problem the team's running into. They did this last year. Remember Polanco was hurt and that they didn't IL him because they're like, oh, we're going to have him back, under 10 games. Then he missed 10 games never playing, and then they put him on the IL. If Polanco's not, I know he did play in the 9th today at first base, but if he is truly at the point where he can't play, you have to put him on the IL. You're wasting a roster spot. That's how you get Miles Mastrobuoni batting in the 9th. He walked, not his problem, not his fault. He could have used another one of those instead of what Garver did, but that's how you end up in these situations. Why I'm not mad at Dan. He is a man short. He was a man short. It's hard to manage a bench, especially when you have a lot of platoons when you don't have a guy. I understand Polanco's hurt. I'm not trying to I'm not pulling, suck it up, man, and play or anything like that. He had knee surgery. I'm sure it's bothering him. And he needed a day or a couple days. That's fine. Last week was just the birth of his baby. That's a beautiful thing. That's fine. But if he's going to be out against Houston, that's now 5 games you've played with one less guy. Could be another guy in the bullpen. I don't know if they can do that now. They have to have 13 pitchers or whatever. But it could be Leo Rivas who could have pinch ran and then done something. It's just, you can't play a man down. This team needs all the help it can get. So I hope I make it through 162. It's frustrating start. I'm not giving up by any means. Still think the team's going to be okay. Just what does okay mean? I don't know. I don't think they're going to be, when I say I'm not trying to not make predictions, I don't think they're going to be terrible. I don't think they're losing 100 unless some major injuries happen. But when I say okay, is it 500? Maybe. It wouldn't shock me if they sat there at 500. I think they're about an 84 to 86 win team. Now, the good news with that is if you overperform a little bit, that can be 88, 89, 90. But these losses count. So now, like, instead of giving off to an 8-2 start, does that mean they're back? No, of course not. Like the Giants are 9-1. I think they're going to drop off a little bit here, but they've got some wins in the bank, right? You've got some money in the bank. The Mariners don't have anything banked, and they need to bank some things because I don't think they're that good to begin with. So if you think like, say, 85 wins, okay, I'm not saying you need to adjust that, but in order for them to get to that 88, 89, they've got to win some games, essentially win games that maybe they shouldn't be winning. And they had a game on Friday that I would have put in the category of they should not have won that game because it was Luis F. Castillo against Justin Verlander. That would have been a stolen win. Today is one where they probably should have won and they lost. So they're not only stealing wins, they're losing games that they probably should be winning. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Strikeouts are down. Walks are good. Just got hit with runners in scoring position. So hopefully that turns around starting tomorrow. Logan Gilbert on the mound. Best thing with baseball, there's another one the next day, another chance to get it going. Sorry, this one was a little disjointed. We had phones going off, kids screaming. So Mariners marinering it. So I do apologize for that. But, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll be back tomorrow. And as always, go Mariners.